a week or so before Christmas, and Robin, the dungeon master, had a toothache and couldn't sleep. Uh, Ramira, his faithful cat, was upset that Robin couldn't sleep as well. Uh, so he gave her a little bit of cat food, and he summoned his gnomes, and they appeared to him. They appeared to him there in the yes, in the penumbra of his room. Three gnomes. Watto, who was at the top of the stair to this to the top floor. Grumps, who was a dwarf but still pretty gnomish. At the bottom of the stair, they went up, and Jigalanthus, that was sitting on his chair, on his red computer chair, and Watto said, "You're crazy. This is all your imagination. We're not really here. You are having a psychotic breakdown." And Grumps said, "Not really. He's just having fun." And Watto said, "I'm telling you, Grumps, he's crazy. He's absolutely insane." And Grumps said, "No, he's just got a toothache and he can't sleep." And Jigalanthus, who was the worst of the three, remained silent and just looked at Robin, silently looking and smiling his perverted smile. "Jigalanthus is the worst of them, isn't he?" Robin said Grumps. And Robin looked at Grumps and said, "Well, yes, of course. He is the darkest part of my own psyche. And I am the best of them, aren't I?" No, Grumps, you're actually my dad. You're the voice of my dad in my head. Oh, I see. So that's the voice of wisdom. No, Grumps, that's actually the voice of my dad. Whether it's wisdom or not wisdom, I'm not so sure, but you have been my faithful companion before, Jigalanthus, and certainly before Watto. And Watto looked and said, "Oh, so I'm the newcomer, huh?" And Grumps said, "Yes, Watto, you're the last one of us, the three spirits of gnomeship or gnomishness. Except that I'm not a gnome, I'm a dwarf." Robin looked at his friends, imaginary or not, and decided that he wasn't really crazy. He was just telling a Christmas story about three spirits that came to visit him at night when he couldn't sleep, and his poor cat was so tired that it fell asleep anyways. And Robin thought, well, if I have three spirits and they live inside my mouth, uh, can I make them physical? Can they actually manifest physicalness, like maybe poltergeist? Or and Grumps said wisely, "Why would you want to do that, you crazy, crazy, crazy human? Don't you know that the spirits of uh, incarnated spirits can be very dangerous to your mental health? And Robin said to Grumps, I'm already crazy like a loon. I'm already totally nuts. I'm talking to myself in the middle of the night because I have a toothache and I can't sleep. And I'm trying to tell a story about gnomes and dwarves that live inside my mouth. That's just crazy behavior, Grumps. I would not put any faith or worry about my mental health. I'm already crazy. And Watto, who was certainly mischievous to the extreme, said, Oh, you're right about that. Now look for me. Where am I? Hey, there I am. Can you see me? And Robin looked at his cell phone and said, Kind of. I can see your hat. You're tiny and you're dark, kind of shadowy. You're moving up the stairs and down the stairs. And yeah, I can kind of. Can everybody see Watto over there? See, Watto was a very brave gnome. He knew better than to play against the mischievousness of his own nature. He was not a dark spirit per se, but he was a cleric of Tiamat, and one of the better clerics of Tiamat, just like Chigalanthus over there on the red chair, looking so mischievously quiet. Chigalanthus, of course, we all know from the Three Towers. He is the king or the elder of the Pink Tower and the builder of one of the three builders of Lollipop City, the gnome, the elf, and the human. And Grumps is the Führer of Grumpslandia, the land of the dwarves. But Watto didn't fit in those fantasy worlds. He was actually just a free agent. He did what he wanted. He was not bound to anything other than Tiamat, of course, and to the Gato Chato, the infamous bordello in Lollipop City, which he purchased and decided to keep at all costs in whatever dimension uh, he could get it. Yes, Watto was perhaps the most ambitious of all of them because he was the newest the newcomer into this strange realm inside my mouth. Grumps, of course, the one on the stairs going down, the Führer of Grumpslandia was basically a racist and a bellicose and ambitious, but very loving and very tender and very worried about the welfare of all his people. A benevolent dictator, you could say. Benevolent dictator. Whereas Watto was just crazy. Of the three, Watto was the craziest, the id, and also the one most played as a PC player character in the Dungeon Master's campaigns. Yes, that was the key, wasn't it? Role playing. It was all about role playing. It was all about being what you are not. Robin had taken a couple of aspirin to bring down the pain on his lower molar, lower right molar, which was actually a recurrent problem for him. He had a kind of infection that sometimes when he lay down to sleep would the blood would rush to the lower moral and it would cause pain. So it's not something unusual to Robin, this painful tooth. He would go this week to see a dentist because he had to. And then, as he watched his friends, the silent gnome and the mischievous gnome, and of course the powerful and serene dwarf, he remembered King Agua, the lizard man. King Agua, the lizard man, was now making his own campaigns. King Agua had become a dungeon master, just like Gigolanthus and King Grumps and Watto the gnome. Yes, King Agua was now a dungeon master, and the ritual of many years ago to bring him as an egregor into the real world was beginning to form into more concisive and powerful magics. Minorena was still sleeping. She didn't really want to be Minorena anymore. She wanted to be something else, which was fine, but it was hard to bring her to the fold because she was an important part of the of the elements necessary for King Agua to become an actual egregor and take possession of the universe, which was his ultimate destiny. Miko Miao, Shamakosa, was also present because if Minorena and King Agua were present, Miko Miao Shamakosa would have to be present. There was three, you see, not two, not one, but three. And those three formed the 999, the mystical number that permitted all these magics to occur. Watto, faithful servant to Tiamat, and definitely one of the most active gnomes uh, in the heart and soul of Robin the Dungeon Master, uh, smiled and said, "My mistress Tiamat will definitely appear to all of you at some point. I can guarantee it. And this is a good finishing touch for this story. 13 minutes and 58 seconds, 59, 14 minutes. Why go longer?" Wata walked and walked, and he came closer and closer and closer, and he climbed on top of the bed, at the bottom of the bed. And Dramina didn't care. She was blissfully asleep. And then Watto took hold of Robins's hands and turned the camera around and said, "It doesn't work. Good night. Good cheer. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year."